Come on in. Come on in. Have a seat. Welcome, welcome. Good to see you. It's been ages. Thank you so much for coming in. And can you believe it's 25 years since Sydney?
Ooh, can you?
I've been trying to work it out. It doesn't seem like 25 years, but it's not a recent memory, but it feels like it's about just over a decade ago. That's how I feel.
Oh, if I break it down, yeah, when I look really closely in the mirror, I can see it's 25 years ago. It's interesting because I don't think you've changed in essence from that person I met 25 years ago. And I think in essence I haven't changed much either.
What do you remember about Ian from 25 years ago, the first time you met him?
Yeah, no, just very easy to just talk with and be with and spend time with. We did a photo shoot together, didn't we?
We did.
Yeah.
Right for the cover of the official souvenir thing.
Yeah.
And what do you remember about Cathy on that first meeting?
Cathy, to me, seemed like she was shy until she started laughing, and then I do that too. I'm shy until I become more comfortable with people.
Absolutely.
So it's that. I think it's the introvert side. And although you can do things like in front of 100,000 people or 1 billion people watching. It's not your personality. It's not you.
Correct.
So how does an introverted person survive in an environment where hundreds of thousands of people are watching you compete and millions on TV? How do you cocoon that in for you to still be able to go out and perform?
Well, I play to that strength of being introverted, and that's exactly where I like to stay, is introverted. So you can relate to that.
I need to be relaxed to be able to compete, but I choose to turn it on when it's announced that we're walking out for the race. As soon as they announce that, I shoulders back and morph into what I can be and the athlete that I am when it comes to racing. And I exit in the same way. So I actually take in the environment that I'm in, the audience and their energy, and try and put that into myself before I race and then focus that into the competition.
I want to take you back to September 24, 1993, when they announced that Sydney is going to host the home games for 2000. Do you remember that announcement, and what thoughts came from just the idea of a home games in 2000?
Yeah, I was immediately excited. I became very happy and just buoyant, just really buoyant. And there's no doubt that announcement infused every single day and night, moving from that announcement on to actually the moment I crossed the finish line in that 400-metre final.
You were 10?
A little bit different. I was 10. I was in bed. And
good boy.
Yeah, at that time, I should have been. But I was woken by my mother and sister screaming, which is weird. I didn't put two and two together that we'd won the Olympics, but my reaction was my sister was a swimmer and, oh wow, that's great. My sister could go to the Olympics in Sydney. So that was my response. I always thought I'd be too young for Sydney.
Oh, wow. Be too young for Sydney.
Yeah.
17 in Sydney. There's lots of sport that kids can choose to participate in. What was it about running and swimming that drew you to those sports in particular?
So mine was an accident. I swam because I got bored at swimming carnivals, and it was watching my sister swim. My mum told me, if you start swimming and do a couple of sessions per week, you can probably swim at these carnivals. So that's how I started, and I'm allergic to chlorine. So it's not a natural start, it's not obvious. But what I loved was where my head could go when I was in the water and what the water felt like. I liked the way it moved around me. And so for me, I just played with the water. And I think it's what made me as good as what I was experiencing it that way. But I had a real sense of solace when I was in the pool.
Yeah, wonderful.
Beautiful. I actually went and hid in some toilets before my very first race. I was that shy, and it was Mrs. Baldry who got me to the start of the race.
School teacher?
Pushy sports teacher. Got me to the start of the race. So thank you, Mrs. Baldry.
Amazing.
Yeah.
And what's the sensation for you when you're out there running? Because getting there and anticipating the race is one thing, but when you're in it, it's another thing, isn't it?
Oh, without a doubt. Well, yeah, you can absolutely relate, Anna. But it was just like a beautiful freedom, beautiful in-flight freedom. Dare I say, even a sense of serenity, and almost escapism from the world around me.
I want to talk about the lead up to Sydney. Because for me, it's quite interesting. You talk about in your career how your silver in Atlanta in 96 really started to make things serious with Sydney looming as a home games. People started to say to you, you're in for a real shot. And winning your 2 world titles leading into that gave you some momentum and confidence to be able to perform there. And on your side, Ian, you win your world titles at 15 and 16, and then it becomes a bit of a, well, maybe this is the games for you to go out and perform. So what's it like leading into a home games and coming through Atlanta from experience where leading into LA in 28, and that team, I really want to have, their own identity and their performances attached to that. But with the looming Brisbane 2032 games, and obviously for you leading into Sydney, what was that build-up like?
I certainly just took each day as it came. I tend to like to be in the moment and just take each moment as it comes, and then before you know it, all of these days and weeks and months have gone by and you're there. That's the magic of life, that it just flies by. It seems to whiz by. I was determined I was going to enjoy the ride. I wanted to live my life the way I wanted to live my life, and that was sort of true to who I am, staying authentic, grounded. It was really important to me, and just to enjoy the ride.
I can, from a personal perspective, Cathy, I think you have been the most consistent person I've seen in high-profile scenarios where being authentic and genuine to yourself has been your core value.
Thank you. That means a lot to me, especially coming from yourself. Thank you.
Thank you. What about you, Ian, leading into Sydney? What was that like?
It was strange. There was a lot of attention on myself, but also on the entire team. Whether it's the swim team or the Olympic team, each athlete had a certain level of expectation on them. I didn't realise, and I always thought Sydney would be too soon for me. So even when I became world champion, I thought it was a fluke. It was then at the Commonwealth Games, it was, okay, I am winning things. And it was, for me, I think everyone else may have seen this a lot earlier than what I had. And it was the year out from the games, and I broke 4 world records in as many days, that I then start to go into the Olympics as the favourite and the one who's going to win. But what people forget is less than a year out from the Olympics, I broke my leg running.
You were allowed to run?
No, well, after that I wasn't allowed to run. It was like, done with the running.
That running.
And that's why swimmers don't run. Yeah, it was kind of weird. We were doing running for extra fitness. Is that not the stupidest thing you've heard? How do you be extra
speaking to one of the
fit?
greatest runners
No,
here,
I get that bit, but Catherine's relating to what I'm saying. When you're swimming that many hours, that makes no sense, right?
It's a bit. I'd imagine it'd be quite a shock from going from being weightless to all of a sudden feeling.
But did you swim to get extra fit?
I swam only when I was recovering from a niggle.
Yeah.
Yeah, to be weightless.
Okay.
So, what did you break in your leg?
Tibia? No, yeah.
Okay.
So started in half, clean break on the 12th of October. And so I can remember my mum coming down, because I didn't have an x-ray for a few days either, because I just thought it was like just hurt. And yeah, it was teenage boy kind of thing as well. And so when I found out, I could see that my mum had been crying. And it was, okay, my mum now thinks that, the Olympics, this may have just passed because of this. And so it was then, how do you work through that? So I had to find a way to train in a different way. And I thought that, if I didn't tell anyone, no one would find out that I broke my leg either leading up to it. People found out.
Makes sense at 15, 16.
Yeah. So I then was accused of doping from German head coach at my first competition back in. So this is in January leading into Sydney. So there were a few things. I had one that was kind of physical and one that was mental, that were like challenges to overcome. So it, in some ways, had in my mind, it had prepared me for a moment that I couldn't prepare for otherwise. I didn't know it felt like I'd had everything thrown at me and I was able to manage my way through it. And so it reminded me that I could manage things and expectations as best as anyone else.
For a young man, incredible.
Yeah,
Incredible.
absolutely. Talk us through some of the training and preparation, not just the physical, because you've talked about some of the emotional and mental.
I think.
How much time and dedication do you put into a race that lasts for 49 seconds?
Yeah, well, for me it was training twice a day, every day except Saturdays was a rest day, Sundays once a day, and up to 7 hours, 2 sessions, break them down to 7 hours in total. So that doesn't sound like a lot, but it's a lot of running and weightlifting and running up hills and circuit work and then it's a 24/7 sort of lifestyle, isn't it? Sleep, enough rest, hydration.
I think it's your mind being in that particular, being an athlete mode, and you have to think of things differently in terms of how will this affect the next session, the competition, how will I recover? And everything is just geared towards making sure you're preparing well, recovering well, and you just plan in cycles and your time is allocated to this. And then everything else in your life has to be, it's an addition that you have to work out if you can do it, can't do it. Athletes, if you go to a dinner even, it's at what time can we go for dinner? Or even at functions, you may win an award and but I have to go to bed at this time as well because it's training the next day. So not that moment to celebrate.
No.
Catherine was mentioning how that sense of just freedom that you have and serenity in racing. So rarely swimmers, and I think it's true for yourself as well, we don't get to feel like that, and it's probably the same for you. We don't feel good very often. Most of it, it's easier to wake up and go, well, okay, what's not sore in my body, than what's actually hurting. So you're exhausted, you're grumpy, you're moody, you're tired from the training that you're doing. So when it comes to racing, you're fresh and you have spark, and then it's just, you just have to let go and let all of the training speak for itself in that moment.
So you talked a little bit about pressure and the difficulty around training and the real excitement phase that comes with competition. Can you talk us through feelings of fear, doubt that naturally occur for a lot of athletes, and how do you keep thoughts at bay and confidence up front for performance to happen?
Great question. I reckon privately, in the depths of my mind, I wanted to run away at least 3 times. I wanted to, switch it up and go fishing with my family.
Just check out.
Just
Was
completely.
that an invite? I would have done that too.
Because, a lot of my family are, living in the tropics of Queensland and fishing is a big part of their lifestyle. And, I'd be racing somewhere in Europe and I'd be fantasizing, why have I chosen this path? I could have gone this way. In milliseconds, I'd have these moments. But I think I did that just for some kind of coping. Yeah.
I don't know how, all of the downs, it's natural.
Absolutely.
And as soon as you come to terms with that, it becomes a motivator. And so you start to work out what you do and don't have control over. But when that thought creeps into your mind, I'll do everything so I don't think that way. And there's less things to have doubts about. If I can stand there and know that I've done everything I possibly could have in this preparation, I can't doubt my training. So that's how you apply yourself each day. But I even on competition, I had doubts and I was nervous. I qualified for my first race and I was fastest, but I didn't feel as comfortable as what I should have for that time. And so your mind just switches into overdrive of what's going on, why aren't I swimming the way that I'd like to, I've got this, and you start projecting all these things forward and you can't just let it happen. So there was a moment before my first race when I was announced to the crowd, and so I've heard big cheers from crowds before, but this roar, I've never heard anything like it, that it actually surprised me a little bit. And I did that thing that you do when you get in trouble and you don't know what to do, and kind of smiled a little bit. But it was the split second I needed to not think about anything. And then it was after that moment I was like, okay, I'm ready and ready to go.
Did you hear that crowd again in the competition? Say for your 400 individual swim. You hear it, it's a moment, it snaps you into it. Do you hear anything when you're in the water?
So I love this. We go from the exuberant cheer, the roar, and especially when the gun goes off, because everyone has to go silent before it. And then you hit the water, silence, and you hear just the water move past. And then when you come up, you hear your own splash and just a murmur from the crowd. It's not as intense as what it is if you weren't in the water.
Amazing. What about for you, Cathy? Big numbers in the stadium the night that you ran.
Excuse me. Yeah.
Do you have moments where time has helped you fill voided gaps of memory of the night, or is it really vivid for you?
Oh, there are definitely moments where the last thing I said to my coach before I left him at the warm-up track was, will you still love me if I don't win this thing?
Oh, bless Cathy.
So there are moments where you absolutely are human. But
What was the answer?
of course, Catherine.
Got it.
What do you mean? Oh my goodness. Yeah, but
Because coaches play a pivotal role in confidence too, don't
Yeah.
they?
without a doubt. I think the good performers thrive on competitive settings and thrive in competition. So addressing that competitor within yourself is, I think there's a wisdom that comes with, if you don't address it, if you don't go with it, you might live with regrets later. So, and I think that was key to my performance. But certainly there are moments of excuse me, that are very clear, like that one I just explained to you about that time with my coach. But then I couldn't hear a thing before my Olympic final. I didn't hear a thing. It's very odd.
Just silence, ears ringing, just in the zone.
In the zone. That's the only way I can describe it.
Yeah.
Your ears were covered. Sued, right?
Yeah, well,
As well.
we'll put it on at the start line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I didn't hear a thing as soon as I walked out in front of everyone. It's very odd.
How much preparation did you have to do to feel comfortable in the suit? Because it was a unique outfit to run in,
Yeah.
and obviously
Very.
covered head to toe.
No, I trained in it a small handful of times, and I raced in the 200 in not my event once before. But I didn't want to overthink it too much and get weighted down by it. I didn't want it to distract me, if anything. It was simple. It felt good. I felt great in it. I'm wearing it.
I want to go back a little bit for you. I want to talk about the lead-in, because it was pretty chaotic for you with your main rival, Marie-Josée Pérec from France, leaving. And back then we probably didn't really talk a lot about athletes' mental health and well-being, and the stress and pressure that can be piled on for athletes. So you have that component. You have the successful momentum building that you've looked for with your world titles. But there comes a point where you were invited to participate in the opening ceremony. How long did you know about that ahead of it?
No, at least 4 months.
4 months?
Yeah, 3 to 4 months.
And
Yeah,
you didn't tell a soul?
I told my 2 training partners because I needed to understand
Well, you went,
my life.
Yeah.
They needed to, because we were living in each other's back pockets, and they needed to help me and support me and make me feel normal. I think
I find that's great. That's the reassuring thing to hear, is that not only, but that's how you trust your teammates as well. It's not just you're not telling anyone, but trusting people that no one knew.
Yeah.
Amazing.
And what was it like when you were asked? What did you think?
I thought I was shocked. I was completely blindsided, and I just went, "Huh?" In my mind, I went, "Huh?" But Coatsy was he was a little bit, he couldn't sit still in his seat there for a little bit, and I was really humbled, just incredibly honoured, and I was shocked. But yeah, so I'm glad I accepted, of course, and. Yeah, it's just a beautiful moment.
I heard it the other way as well, that you asked, but as long as it won't affect your race, and you responded. How did you respond?
There's a few versions.
Yeah.
I think it was probably such a surreal moment. Here I am sitting there with one of Australia's greatest administrators and wondering what is going on. So there was a lot of thinking for someone who doesn't think a lot, because my life was very, very basic. And then all of a sudden it just became not that basic.
It became a bit hectic.
It became... Go on, what's the story?
It was more, it will actually help lift me as well.
Yeah.
That's why it wasn't going to take away. I think I heard, if anything, it might add to my performance.
It's interesting because I think us athletes, we figure out what works for what we need pretty quickly. So I didn't write a wish list to Coatsy saying this is what I need, but he certainly could sense that I was up for it. So,
cool.
Yeah.
I said before, your authenticity and your genuine nature always shines
Thank
through,
you.
being so humble. What did it feel like to be included, the last person to take the flame from Betty Cuthbert, Shirley Strickland, Dawn Fraser, Raylene Boyle,
Extraordinary.
Shane Gould, and to be past that by Debbie Flintoff-King as the last Australian gold medalist.
Just incredible.
In the track and field competition. And then you stand there, we know about the malfunction, and you hold your composure like we know you to do, and then light the flame, and it kicks off the Sydney Olympic Games.
Yeah, shivers. I'm getting shivers thinking about it.
Me too.
Here with you guys today. Yeah, it's extraordinary. Just extraordinary goosebumps. Yeah, so...
We go from that moment, extraordinary goosebumps. You really are held in the highest of esteem in Australian sport and global sport. And then we go to your competition and you're focused. It's quiet. There's 112,000 people in the stadium and you don't hear one of them.
No.
And
go figure.
Any
ideas?
No.
You must have some idea. You're in.
No,
You were there, Ian.
Yeah.
Can you tell us what your reflections of Cathy's race that night? And I'd love to then hear from you, your perspective. From the moment you race starts to the moment you sit and you're collating what's just occurred.
What I loved was the sound that was created inside the stadium. But it was almost like an audio Mexican wave. So as you came around the track from one side and you got closer to me, you hear the sound building up towards you as you run past. It was incredible to see that. And it was, everyone was cheering and then you just cheered more when you ran past. So every athlete, we all wanted to be there for that moment and we're just hoping and it's great when you hear the coverage because it makes more sense in the coverage, but you can't see that at the track. And it's like, come on, Cathy, you better go now. Come on, there's something going on. I'm trying to run for you. I can't run. We found out what happened the last time I ran. So we're all trying to do it. So, but yeah, you were the only one that could do that and deliver it that way that night.
Jeez.
The other part of it, there's the athletic part, but there was also the societal and cultural that Catherine had. And there were many people that may have come before her and contributed in this space. In terms of what it did to begin or to continue a discussion around the differences between white and black Australia, but also in a way that we had a starting point that just put it soothed a little bit of a wound that existed there. And Catherine's been able to continue doing great work in that space and as more still needs to be done.
Extremely well said, Ian.
Thank you, Ian.
How do you feel hearing that? How do you feel hearing that recount from Ian, who was in the stadium?
I feel very safe. Yeah, it's nice. Very nice.
What do you remember about your race?
I remember I knew the tactics had to be different because Perec wasn't in it, which was a shame, but she had the right to do whatever she pleased, really. So technically sound, I probably should have gone a lot harder earlier. I should have been a bit more like Ian and raced against the clock and been completely punishing on my competitors. I wish I had more of you in me in that sense.
It amazes me that for a race that is so iconic and you won it with such conviction that you are still so hard on yourself about how you
yeah.
analyse it.
Yeah, I'm sure you are too.
Yes.
Or have been.
But I get to ask you the question.
Exactly.
All the things that I'm critical, most critical of myself, but it's all the technical things that are wrong with it rather than what was right with it.
And yet
It's
you're
easier
well
to do,
record.
right?
So I was disappointed with the time. So I tend to raise...
So your head was in the performance element of it.
And actually, it was Kieran Perkins, of all people, who checked me and said, you looked like you were going through anguish when you crossed the line. And he said, interesting you say that, because I was actually really bummed about the time. So
It's interesting. I think athletes we see the time, everyone else sees the gold medal. But this is us wanting to be better. And we're always looking at what's next rather than what's now.
Exactly. Because as soon as I crossed the line, I was like, so this is what it feels like to be an Olympic champion. And then it was very businesslike, victory lap, very unemotional, which is a bit sad in a sense. I could have enjoyed myself.
It's hard to know in the moment too, because no one tells you what it's like when you win. No. You do spend a lot more time losing and battling and dealing with adversity and loss and change than you do get the little moments to really succeed. But from what Ian was telling the story before about carrying the 2 flags and the unification and the incredible conversation that you were able to start Australia on or continue and pick up in a very respectful way. Tell us about the decision to carry the 2 flags and that victory lap, because then the ceremony, the medal ceremony, comes quite a bit later for you as well.
Well, the victory lap was part of my Olympic dream. I only ever flew both flags if I won major championships like home games or world titles, and that was a treat for me because I got to share my true colours with folks, and I was paying homage to my ancestors. So I've always been very proud of my Indigenous heritage, and it was important to me.
Absolutely, it was very important to all of Australia. Can I add?
Thank you.
Very important. You've mentioned dream and goal before, and this is a really interesting thing. You've described your goal of wanting to be an Olympian, but your dream to be Olympic champion, and your goal and your dream. Why is being an Olympian for Australia so... What is it about being an Olympian for Australia that is so powerful and drawing and is a big driver? And why is the dream to be Olympic champion a little bit more scary to put out there?
So I think that when it comes to being an Olympian, a great honour no matter where you are in the world. But when you become an Australian Olympian, we have this tremendous history that comes with that. And so part of what I think is part of the spirit of sport and what it should be is that you're inspired by those that come before you. And some of us get to race the people that were our heroes. And there's a transition where the mantle is passed on. Then when someone else is coming along during your time, you're going to pass that on as well. You don't give it up. None of us would give it up. And you hope to have inspired that person along the way. So it's just being a moment in what is the legacy of Australian sport. That's to become an Olympian. And there's very few of us in the world. And I know great athletes that have achieved incredible things and aren't Olympians. And when it comes to a dream, for me, that's the kind of thing that you feel embarrassed to actually tell anyone else. Keep that to yourself, because...
What makes it embarrassing to share?
You don't know if people are supposed to aim that high, to aspire to...
Do you resonate with that?
I do. We both had aspirations early on in life, especially you. But certainly you got to read particular moments when they come up. Not everybody, for whatever reason, can see that pathway forward in the way that we do. So Olympians definitely think differently. We have to think differently. And then taking that step in order to believe that you can do something beyond being an Olympian is something else. It's quite something else.
So you're selected on the Australian Olympic team for Sydney 2000. What's a memory outside of competition through the experience of being Olympian that you remember? Is it getting your uniform? Have you kept pieces of uniform? If so, what are they?
I kept it.
I have absolutely kept it.
Where's yours? Where's yours?
There's something, the aura of an Olympic jacket, an Olympic team jacket, there's an aura around it. It's really quite special, isn't it, every time you put it on?
And also, it's nice to be part of the whole team that has a presence. The whole team part. I love this because I'm looking at people that I know from different sports, and I'm excited that we're together and we spend time together. That's unique at Olympics and Commonwealth Games, but especially at the Olympics. But there was some great moments. Like we got home really late. The first night of competition, you would have been first night, so opening ceremony, sorry. You would have been, what time did you get in?
Oh my goodness. Yeah, it was early in the morning.
Yeah.
Very early in the morning. I was tired the next day at training. Yeah. And it showed.
So after midnight, first night at the swimming, but we went into the dining hall, and so I'd won my first Olympic gold and the 4x100 gold that night. So I was with the relay.
Not a bad night at work.
It was a good night for me. I thought it was a good night too. And we walked in, but in this giant food hall that is for thousands of people, there wasn't many people there, but everyone that was there stood up and applauded. And,
very cool.
And it was just an applause, and then everyone went back to what they were doing. And it was great because it was your peers from around the world giving you that acknowledgement that they had a job to do, and they know that you have a job to do as well.
Speaking of your job, let's go to your first night of competition. You're 400 individual, free, 17 years of age. I loved recently, I heard you say there was a moment just before the finish where you looked either side just to check where you were, and you realised you were about to become Olympic champion. You had this little chuckle, this little moment to yourself. Talk us through your first race and those little moments that you remember.
Yeah, I only get snapshots. I don't have the whole race in my memory. It needs to be refreshed. I just wanted to lead, and the reason I wanted to lead was to just give me all of these options of how I'd swim this race. And it was probably the safest way to me to try and win. Now, I had this weird thing before. One of the coaches said to me, look, if you can hold back something from your 400 free, maybe you should. And that was like what the person meant was you've got another race later in the night, but your head goes to what's wrong with me? I've done this before. I should be able to manage it. So that was there, but I wanted to swim well in my race. I wanted to give it a go. From there, I was able to dictate the race how I wanted. And I knew that I was in front, but it was double checking to make sure. And then my reaction after the double check was to smile and laugh and then come on, get on with it. Like,
you didn't take on any water, did you?
None of that. It's like, don't think like that. Get to the wall, make sure you do it. You're not allowed to do that. And when you see all the blooper reels, I was worried that would happen, even though that was pretty unlikely at that part of the race. It was about 15 metres to go.
So you touch the wall, you turn around. What do you see? What do you feel?
So you hear everything first. So everyone's cheering, and then you take off your goggles to turn around to see what time you do. And I just saw the world record sign there. So that means it's a good swim.
Oh my God.
Not too bad.
So looking at the time, it was intentional. I was not going to allow myself to get too caught up in the way I may have wanted to respond or what would have been natural. And it was to calmly respond to a crowd, acknowledge a crowd that just cheered me on, because my head is, now I have to get to my next race.
That quickly?
No, I knew before. So when I touched the wall, so my moment was that 15 metres to go. That I had that, and it's private, and then I'm into the next race already, knowing where I have to be for swim down, how much time I have there, when we'll walk out for the medal ceremony, then getting back into a pool to warm up for the next race. My head was already preparing for what I had to do next.
Because that's a lot of composure and decisive focusedness for a 17-year-old to be able to implement. It's one thing preparing for that, but to implement it and implement it so well, Ian, credit to you. That's phenomenal.
But I also have to say, I think there's some advantages though of being young that I like to put out there. When you're young, when you're a teenager, no one ever tells you what you can't do or what isn't possible. So you believe it. We tell young people that you can achieve anything, and for the most part, you can believe that, and you can.
Less inhibited.
But as a career goes on, there's other things that you start to think of that may impact your performance in a way. But when you're young, the innocence, the mindset of a child is different to an adult.
Yeah.
Purity.
Yeah.
Fascinating.
So you go through warm down, you have your medal ceremony, you go back, and now your focus is on the 4x100. And you're quoted as saying, "We believed we could win, we just didn't know how." Can you explain that? Because if you have in your head, if we beat the Americans, we're going to strum the guitar.
Didn't have
So
that.
you didn't have that?
No.
Where did that come from?
Straight after the race, it just
Literally was a
happened
thought
like
that happened occurred.
Yeah.
Okay.
So what we knew, just looking at like changeovers, we're really bad at relay changeovers. So when someone touches the wall with their fingertip, your toe has to be on the block. Usually about 0.1 to 0.2 of a second is where you want to be. So when someone touches the wall, I never see them touch. I trust that they'll get on the wall in the timing that I expect them to finish. And I've gone, it's too late to do anything about it. So we could work on that. And there's 0.6 to 0.8 of a second that we just made up there. But still, when we did the calculation for the American teams, they're still ahead of us. We each individually needed to have a swim that was out of this world for us. And we knew how the American team would swim. So we knew we'd always be coming back stronger in the second 50 metres. So we led in that race until every part of it till the 250 metre mark, where it switched to the Americans for the first time. But at the 300 metre mark, and I was about to dive in back to us to lead at everyone's leg, we won. Also knew that the Americans would swim their fastest swimmers last, so they hadn't changed that in all of Olympic history. So they've never lost this race. This is their way of swimming it. And I was the fourth fastest. I wasn't the fastest. We weren't doing that. Putting me in at the end after another race.
Incredible.
And I only found out recently that a decision was made to actually put those races together on the first night because we wanted to go off with a bang at the start of the Olympics. And no one told me.
Well, that's probably a good thing.
Yeah, because I would have been furious. It went the right way. It's a lot. But I broke my swimsuit before it as well. Right. So I was trying to get a swimsuit on and it had snapped and I was getting into a wet swimsuit. Mm-hmm. It was kind of drama getting ready. And so I didn't walk out until they got to our lane. And the rest of the guys were so focused, they didn't even go, like, where were you or any of that. But that's where we were at. And it was, what was unique in this race, there was a sense from the entire swim team believed that we could as well. So we felt it, I definitely felt it in our team meeting before we go to the pool, which we have at the village before we get on the bus to get to the pool. And there was this sense around it and a contained excitement for that event.
And?
Well, it turned out pretty good.
You finally get to let loose.
No, it is. This is the difference. You get to have a reaction that is natural, where you don't know what to do. It happens. And some people do it a lot better than others, though. Some people are like cooler with it. But some of my favorite Olympic moments are that unrestrained response, like when someone realizes what they've just done.
You've spoken a little bit about going off with a bang, really setting up the team and the home Olympic experience. How important is success for the home team at a home games? You've been through it in Sydney. We're heading towards Brisbane. Can you talk to us a little bit about that?
I think we definitely lift each other. Athletes come together and we vibe off each other and carry each other. When we see the success of another Aussie athlete, I still remember, I remember back in 92, my first Olympics, when Cathy White went out and won that gold medal. And I don't think any Australian saw that one coming. You're inspired.
Yeah.
Aussies can do it. We can do this.
Absolutely.
Yeah. I think this, like for Sydney, this city grew up for the Olympic Games, and it was like, this is what we have to present to the rest of the world. It's not British, it's not American. This is us, and we've got it pretty good, and this is what we're going to show the world. That's what we were able to do as a nation behind the Olympic Games. But had the athletes not performed at the Olympic Games, it would not have been the best Olympics ever. But there'll be a level of excitement around Brisbane that I'm excited about, that we'll pass it on. And I want Brisbane to be better than Sydney as well. This is what we want at the Brisbane Olympic Games.
Without a doubt. I'm surprised. I feel so strongly about it. I think it takes on a real meaning coming from the great Ian Thorpe and sitting here with you.
And the
today.
great Cathy Freeman. Do you have some advice for the athletes who are aiming towards Brisbane as a home games, having been through it yourselves?
Enjoy the lead
Without
up,
a doubt.
and let the excitement of a home games be your motivator when you're tired in training. Give yourself a little bit of that this is unique, this is an opportunity that doesn't happen for every athlete in the world to have a home games.
And acknowledge the support and the love and the celebration, and lap up the attention, even though I probably didn't set the greatest example looking back. But it's okay to just enjoy yourself and celebrate yourself.
2 final questions. One for you personally, Cathy. Does your daughter believe that you're Cathy Freeman? Because my daughter doesn't believe that I was ever good on a bike, and I'd love to hear that from you.
Who knows what's going through my daughter's mind, mate. Yeah, she's at an age now where she's coming around a little bit more.
Yep.
Yeah.
So you're getting cooler?
I actually am.
Cool.
I actually am.
Good.
That's a win.
That's
a win as a mum.
Absolute win.
And my final question to you is, was it worth it? For all the highs and lows and everything in between that you've been through, was it worth it? And what was the impact of Sydney 2000 on you?
Oh.
Not a simple question there.
Well, I think it was absolutely worth it.
Yes.
Look at how magnificent we are.
Because Cathy's cooler in front of her daughter now. You got it. You're fine. You get through all of those years. You're just the cool mum now.
I am such a cool mum.
It was. Look, I couldn't speak for
uncle.
both of us, but yes, definitely worth it. And what was the other part?
How
Does
did
the other part
Sydney
matter?
affect you? How did Sydney 2000 Olympic Games affect you?
Oh, it's living on forever in my heart. There's no doubt.
I think that it lives on in everyone
your
else's heart. It's
too.
mine. But I love Catherine's mine. But I love, and it's one thing that I love people coming up to me and talking about is that people tell you the story around what they were doing at the Sydney Olympics when they watched a particular race.
Yep.
And so it's that special place in someone's heart that you occupy as well.
And it's joyful.
It is. Great memories. And my life was entirely different after the Olympics. And I imagine that yours would have changed a lot as well.
Well, we are very grateful for your amazing life, for the effort that you have put in, for the love and passion you continue to show, and the support for the movement as well. Thank you for your time today. I could have talked far more and picked your brain far more, but thank you for being open and honest and sharing your insights and feelings and thoughts, and enjoy the 25 years, even though you probably still feel 17 and in your 20s.
27.
Yeah.
I'll think about that one.
I'd love to be, but no.
17.
Actually, no, I wouldn't.
No. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks, Sam.